What's he trying to say with this post-game chat, LeBron?
Well, first of all, I appreciate the fact that both of them didn't have much to say about it because it's their business, it's not ours. And the reason why it's applicable in this particular situation is because it's clear the conversation wasn't just about basketball. It's about the lessons that come with trying to be the best professional that you can possibly be, trying to weed out the distractions, trying to diminish and dissipate the noise that's in your ear and between your ears or what have you. These are the kind of things that LeBron James is more than qualified to advise a young phenom about. Lonzo Ball is not that yet. We need to see more. But he played another good game last night. These are back-to-back games, as far as I'm concerned, that he's looked relatively decent. The level of aggression that he's put on display, looking for a shot. For the second game in a row, he's hit at least 3 3-point shots. So that means it's starting to go in a little bit more. The percentages was 45% from the field. This is a good thing. And when you talk about 13, 11, and 8, those are relatively respectable and decent numbers. And if he can do something like that where he's continuing to look for a shot, that's great. Just show the level of assertiveness that people would expect from a number 2 overall pick. That's what you're looking for from him as a basketball player. But as a young man, it was easy for LeBron James to feel the need to espouse some words of wisdom upon the kid. Clearly, LeBron was telling him to cover your mouth so they don't read your lips and see what we're saying to one another. That's why you block your mouth from, being seen in that regard. And obviously, when you think about what you hear about Lonzo, he's a nice kid, really, really good character guy. The pressure that's been placed on his shoulders is not by him at all. He has quietly gone about the business of trying to be the best that he can be, and his father's mouth has put him in a precarious position, which is, basically provoked the ire of individuals like Charles Barkley and so many others. Even Kyle Kuzma went on Instagram and spoke against the big baller brand. Why on earth would he do that? You know why he did it? Because, everybody suspects that it's having an unfair effect on the kid who's done nothing to bring such vitriol in his direction. So those are the kind of things that LeBron James was in his ear whispering about. Just do what he can to shut out the noise. Unfortunately, what LeBron can't do is advise him on how to deal with his dad, because LeBron's not qualified to do that. He's qualified to do almost everything else. I'm not sure he's qualified to do that, and I think he would know that. But whatever he said to the kid, you had best believe it was profound words of wisdom. And LeBron James is more qualified than anybody in the game of basketball today to give that kind of advice.
There's a book called The President's Club. It's about the fact that when the presidents, whichever party, Republicans and Democrats, leave office, they become friendly, they become close at times, because only they understand the pressure that office brings with it. They're the only ones who really understand it. So they have a bond. Bill Clinton and H.W. Bush, he ended H.W. Bush's presidency. It was only a one-term president because of Bill Clinton, and yet they became friendly. George W. Bush and Barack Obama, you couldn't have very different kinds of presidents, fundamentally different. But there is an animus there, personally, it doesn't seem, because they share a bond that only presidents can understand. And that's what's going on here. Whenever you think of Lonzo Ball, whether it's LeBron looking at him going, game recognized game, real recognized real, I think that kid's going to be a baller or has a chance. Or even if you don't think it's that, only LeBron can understand fully what Lonzo is going through in terms of the pressure. Now, you could say, well, it's different because in this case, LeVar, Lonzo's father's bringing the pressure. But still, Ben Simmons is #1 overall pick, not going through the kind of pressure that Lonzo's going through, right? Joel Embiid and Simmons in Philadelphia, neither one of them going through this kind of pressure. Markelle Fultz or any of the #1 picks recently, Karl Anthony Towns, who's going through the kind, even Kristaps Porzingis in New York, in Madison Square Garden, not going through the kind of pressure Lonzo's going through because of the media attention. LeBron James understands what that is. To be on every sports talk show every day. That on our show, we legitimately cover it when we think it's interesting and when there's room for debate. But the fact of the matter is, on shows across the country, the question is, how are we going to get Lonzo Ball into the show? Because it's interesting to fans. And LeBron James is as caught up, I'm sure, in that soap opera as anyone else. But more than that, he understands the pressure and what Lonzo's going through in a way that no one else really can. He relates to it, and that's why he's passing on those words of wisdom, because he knows of all those guys who came out in the draft recently, Lonzo is coming closer to experiencing the pressure LeBron had than anyone else.